Well, I watched Five Nights at Freddy's so that you don't have to. I never played the games. I watched people play a couple clips of them, but as far as that goes, I went into it knowing pretty much nothing about the lore and having only seen one trailer. But, some preliminary thoughts for starters. It was one of the worst smelling rooms that I had ever been in my entire life. So, just right off the bat, wondering what is it? Is there like a water allergen? Will the players of the games like melt like the Wicked Witch or catch on fire or burn up or something if they took a bath? And would a shower kill them? Because bloody hell, the room smelled like sewage and homelessness. So, a very interesting cocktail of abuse on the nasal cavity just entering the room. This is definitely one that I would recommend if anyone were to watch it. Just go ahead and stream it on Peacock. Like, spare yourself being in a room with these, because that's just it was a lot. It was tough to get through. But the plot played out kind of like a 2004 B movie or C movie, where for 3/4 of it you're pretty much falling asleep. There's a really stupid battle with over custody with a younger sister that nobody cares about. There's a lady cop in it that apparently has time to just never do any cop work and spends her entire time at an old abandoned closed down kids pizza place. So I wonder how she got the badge and how she keeps it. If she logs 0 hours doing any actual police work and she spends all of her time at her dad's pizza joint where he funnels kids and kills them or whatever. There are a lot of pedophile undertones in the film. It's really, really nice. So the main plot was basically guy lost his younger brother when he was a kid. Kid got abducted by the Freddy pizza pedophile who kills kids and then puts their consciousness into animatrons somehow, and then brainwashes them to kill people. I don't know. It didn't really make any sense how the kids were alive or dead or in between. It was never explained. But basically, um, he's fighting his sister. I don't know. He's fighting some dumb lady over custody over his younger sister, and eventually he gets a job at the pizza place and loses his babysitter. So he has to bring the younger sister to the pizza place. She makes friends with the animatrons that are killing people, and it all goes downhill from there as she becomes obsessed with these things and they start becoming weird, kind of close friends with her. And at one point later, they abduct her, so he has to go and rescue her from the pizza place that he works at. Um, and that's where we find out all the how to control the animatrons is to draw a picture so that they have a target, they know who to kill. So this whole thing could have been solved in the first 10 minutes of the film just by drawing something and sticking it on the wall, which is kind of annoying. And I have no idea how similar or dissimilar to the games it is, but I just find it odd that this is aimed at children in any way, shape, or form when the main point of the entire thing is that seems to be that there's a pedophile who kills kids after having his way with them and then sticks them into animatronic suits. I just don't understand the appeal of it or the reason for it. But anyway, yeah, most of it was kind of waiting for the plot to get going. And most of that plot was just the same dream over and over again that this guy's having, and his sister being a complete bitch. So I'm not entirely certain how much of the script that they wrote and how much of it they just gave up and just said wing it. But at least the soundtrack was kind of cool. It had some good music. It would have benefited probably from the pizza place being open still and active for business and actually seeing some of this stuff happen before. Because if you can take the opening credits where it just kind of shows drawings of the premise happening, if we could have had a prologue or something, that would have been a little more interesting than to just have said, like, well, bad things kind of happened here, so it shut down, so there's that. But, I mean, the whole point of the movie was, I guess, inconsistency. Because they're looking for, I don't know, there's so many reasons why the plot shouldn't have gone forward. Like, why would he stay at this place after the first night where he got stabbed and sliced up in his freaking dreams? Why would he stay at a place where the animatrons are literally alive? And he keeps going back there. Like, I'm pretty damn sure you could find any other job. You can go to McDonald's or Walmart or some shit. You can literally any option. Like, there are a lot of places that they will take, you know, sexual offenders and murderers and convicts. So the fact that he assaulted someone at the mall, that's no excuse to not be able to get any other kind of job than an abandoned pizza place. Which is also stupid because who's paying this guy to show up and stay overnight at a place that's shut down? It makes less than 0 cents. And then bringing his little sister into it. Great idea. Just wonderful plan, buddy. Like, he had all this red flags about this place already, and then he decides to drag her into it, and then that's the whole reason that everything else goes to shit. So I'm not quite sure what they were going for or what the purpose was besides, hey, games, money, movie, games, money. But it seems that that was the main point. And as far as that goes, it's pretty successful. I mean, it's made over $150 million off of a $25 million budget. So in terms of money, it's gotten what it wanted, got what it needed. And I don't know where they're going to go if they make any sequels because, I mean, how many of these places could there possibly be? And how many of these pedo guys could there possibly be? Unless it's a giant underground thing and they try to turn it into a big conspiracy thing. I don't know. But as a self contained story, it didn't make much sense. You had this stupid, weird family dynamic with his pedo father and brainwashing, well, not brainwashing, but I guess blackmailing his police daughter. I really don't understand. She could have brought him in. She knew everything. Um, she really could have stopped things like 15, 20 minutes into the film. And every scene that kind of went after the other just felt like another scene that was totally unnecessary because of just how flimsy the plot was. It was stacked up on a house of cards in a very stupid formation. So there wasn't really much support. There wasn't really much of a reason for things to keep going on. Like, I'm not entirely sure why the animatrons are even alive or why they are, like, so protective of the guy that murdered them. there wasn't really much explanation as to why they would suddenly turn on him just because some girl drew a picture. Like, if the pictures were the only reason that they were supporting him and killing for him, then why would he have such a flimsy hold over them? And also, how would you understand how to get a hold over someone if you don't know what happens after you kill them? So then that leads people to question, how alive are they in the suits? Are they like half dead, or what's going on here? It's never explained. You're just supposed to shut up and enjoy because product. Don't question product, just consume product. So it's just like, okay, whatever. But I would not be totally shocked if this gets like 2 or 3 sequels, and he just keeps relocating and choosing a different kid and different adult, and but the same thing happening over and over again. The pedo in this one was seemed to have died in his suit once the other animatrons turned it against him. But of course, it looked more like one of those vague deaths where he's going to be coming back as some sort of half ghost, half not ghost animatron thing, I guess. It wasn't totally set in stone that he was like totally, absolutely dead and never going to be able to come back, especially if they're going to try and set up sequels. It wouldn't make much sense if you took away the main player. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the appeal is or who the target audience is, because if you're making a pedo story, is it for adults? Is it for kids? Is it a warning? Is it this is good? Like, I don't know. I'm not in that. I'm not in those circles, so I wouldn't be entirely sure what the grand appeal is for things like that, or maybe it's just the edgy, weird furries that were in the theater. I guess that's the target audience, but I don't know. It wasn't really much of a good movie. It wasn't very entertaining on its own, and I think the biggest draw for it, the number one thing that I was really hoping for, because I didn't expect it to be any good on any other front, were the scares, and it wasn't scary at all, not one bit. Because when you fail to make characters that that the audience will care about, when you fail to create situations that are interesting, then the audience is not going to give a crap what happens to the characters or how the situation is going to play out, because I could not care any less what happened to the girl. Like, it wouldn't have bothered me if she had died in the first 5 minutes or if she had died in the last 5 minutes or somewhere in between. It just, nothing would have bothered me there, because I just really didn't care about her. She was a nasty, distant bitch for no reason, and then suddenly we're expected to worry about her playing with the animatrons. Like, I don't care. So, with that lack of connection to any character in the film at all, except for the lawyer who was just sitting there going, I really shouldn't be here. I want to get out of here. I want to leave. Like, that was the only character I identified with. I fully agreed with him in most of what he said. So, with that problem and that lack of connection and empathy and interest, even when they did try to do like situational scares, like, oh, something bad's going to happen to them, or jump scares, it didn't really work. The only time I saw anybody jump in the theater were this little 5-inch tall figure that was popping up in different places throughout the pizza place in a few scenes. That was about it. And it wasn't even scary at all. None of the animatrons were scary at all. None of the noises, none of the kills were scary. Nothing really. Every single death was highly predictable, especially the bullies who came in to rough up the pizza place to try and get the guy fired who was fighting for custody of his sister. There were some satisfying deaths, such as those, and the pedo getting his ribs destroyed by his own suit. That was pretty satisfying to watch. But yeah, beyond that, I really couldn't have given half a shit if the protagonists lived or died because they weren't very interesting or empathetic people in the first place. So it was just kind of like whatever happens to them, I really don't care. I just want this to end. But there was no fear and there were no good jump scares. And I understand it was PG-13 because apparently you're going for a younger audience with this stuff, which again, don't know why, but whatever. Um, Still, I've seen PG-13 movies I've seen PG movies that were much, much scarier than this. And I was surprised by the lack of jump scares and horror elements, especially considering the setting and the theme. So I guess the number one draw for this film wasn't there, and then all the other flaws are just heightened and amplified by that because if you're not there for the one thing that you're there for, if you don't get the one thing you're there for, then the entire affair just becomes a slog, a very boring one. And that's kind of where I was. Honestly, I fell asleep in a couple points of the film because it was just so boring and it was taking so long to really get anywhere. And after seeing the guy have the exact same dream over and over and over with no new results each time, it just got so dull and repetitive to the point where I felt very comfortable just taking a quick nap because I was tired anyway. But overall, I mean, I would be shocked if this didn't get more movies just because of how many furries turned up. But I mean, God, really, would it kill them to? I don't know. Maybe we should draw a picture of a shower and show it to them to see if they can learn, what it is, how to use it, the best time of day, how many times per week is normal and socially acceptable, so that you're not a walking health hazard. Because I mean, I'm definitely learned my lesson. I'm never going to see any of these movies in theaters ever again. They streamed on Peacock at the same time. Perfect, perfect. I will get a free trial to that subscription service that I don't care about and don't use, just so that I can avoid the absolute stench of the room with an HVAC, by the way. So we have HVACs installed in this room, and it's cleaned after every performance. So there's no excuse for it to have smelled as bad as it did. Like, really, a shower would not kill you. But it is what it is. I do not fault the critics for giving it such low scores across the board. I tend to agree with them on this one. It was not really, there wasn't really anything redeeming about this film. There wasn't a good reason to see it. And it's sad because, something like Megan, it's stupid, sure, but at least, there's a few scares in it. Insidious or something. Yeah, The Nun too, like Voyage of the Demeter. Like, there's some stupid movies with some stupid parts in them, but at least they were somewhat scary. This didn't even have a good scare. And the fear element was completely absent. I know some people who give it like a 4 or 5 out of 5, though, um, which is interesting. And I would love to have them on and debate them about that at some point. Because whatever they saw in this, I did not. And again, I did not play the games. So if there's some super secret, like, non pedo mode or something, or a whole different story in the games that the film just decided not to adapt, I would love to. I would love to talk to them about it, or talk to Superman just to see what their perspective is. As long as we're not in the same room, I guess. Depending on their furry status. Because if the smell is going to be that bad, I mean, we can do it over Skype. How about that? We can record separately. But no, I'd be very interested to see why The young audience tended to like this so much, but I mean, it wasn't for me, and I'm not surprised because it wasn't aimed for me either. It wasn't intended for me, but nonetheless, I still could not really find anything redeeming in it, except a few laughs. That is the one thing it had going for it. It had a few good jokes, a couple good laughs here and there. I think most of the humor that I found in it was unintentional on their part. They didn't expect it to come off as just melted cheese. So whenever the cornball and the cheese and you know, the stupid parts were just so bad that they were funny, that was one of the only redeeming qualities of the film. So I would recommend skimming through it on Peacock to find a couple, just to see how bad it is to the point where it's good, to see if you fall into that category as well. But yeah, beyond that, there really wasn't much that could prop this up or give it a better place in the ratings. I would probably give it a 1 out of 5 stars at this point. It just I started around 2 or 2.5, but I don't know. The more I've just kind of thought about it, and the more I've tried to forget the smell of the room, the less I succeed in that area. So, plus with the financial success, the inevitability of sequels that are probably going to be even worse, it just this can't be a good start. This can't be a start to a good thing. It's not a good thing, and it's just I don't know. It's one of the worst films of the year, worst films of the past 3 years probably. Post COVID, it's honestly just pretty dreadful. It's getting pretty close to Wonder Woman 84 and half of the Marvel movies like Black Widow that came out since 2020, and that Jennifer Lawrence movie that came out a few months ago. Just go with it. Yeah, it's on the creepy, weird, annoying, and stupid vibes more so than it is on the this is scary or this is horrifying or this is, so bad it's funny. It kind of just misses the mark on just about everything, including basic writing and characterization and plotting. But they're the fans, they're the super fans, they're the lore obsessives. So, don't take it too personally and don't get too angry with the review. I just I've tried. I tried. So, and it didn't work out. And that happens. But I gave it a shot. I wasn't going to see it, but I said, you know what? The demand is there. People keep asking. So fine, I will go see it. I will give it a chance. And I did. And anytime a film puts me to sleep when I'm not like dead tired, I just cannot give it more than a 1 because, it's the bare minimum you could do is give me characters and, a story that's at least interesting enough to keep me awake hating it than to just bore me to sleep. So I do hope that if anything else ever comes out of this, that, if there's some sort of R-rated cut where it's actually scary or something like that, sure, sure, throw that out there. I'm not going to watch it, but I will read summaries of it. I never want to interact with this franchise ever again, and I don't want to be around people that interact with this franchise on an obsessive basis ever again because I don't know, it's just like a health hazard. I'd rather be around a sick person. I'd rather like risk the flu or something. I cannot lose my sense of smell this early in my life. It would be a tragedy, and that's probably what's going to happen if I keep going to these films and things like that. And I have no interest in playing the game, so. But again, I would be very happy to talk to anybody who is a super fan to see what their perspective is. Is there anything I missed? Is there some sort of secret hidden good movie or good story in this franchise or in the games or in this film that I'm just not seeing? I'd love to hear another perspective on it. But that's where I stand. 1 out of 5. It was really painful to get through. Partially, mostly because of the film, but a good chunk of that was because of the audience that went to the film and the annoying fucking singing that they were doing with the classical music themes. I just, I couldn't do it. But hopefully, we have something better coming up with Napoleon coming out this Thanksgiving, and the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials are coming up. So hopefully they'll have some palate cleansers on the way where I can review something that was actually good. But for now, I'm just gonna put a wrap on this one, and it wasn't great. It wasn't good. It wasn't really outright, but I'm sure there are people that loved it, and more power to you. I'm glad you were able to enjoy what I was not, but I'm looking forward to reviewing hopefully some better things coming up this month and next month, and hopefully 2024 is a big year for film. We have Dune 2 coming out in March. We have a lot of things coming down the pike, so hopefully also the Screen Actors Guild strike is resolved and the studios actually pay the actors what they deserve, because we can't keep getting Five Nights at Freddy's movies. We need to get good movies, and it really would not kill the studios to pay 1% to 2% more, and make some AI promises that they will not just CGI fake crowds to avoid paying extras, and they won't use AI to reconstruct dead actors against their will and cram them into every project, or erase performances of actors by making them look like someone else. Like bare minimum basic assurances, it would not kill them to provide those. So hopefully that strike gets resolved, and hopefully the actors fall on the side of victory here instead of more holdouts and starvation for the less successful non-Hollywood rich pricks. I really hope they get the setup they deserve. I hope they resolve it as the writers did. So more power to them. Good luck to them. And I look forward to reviewing something much better with you guys all soon. And I hope things turn around in the industry and get a little better. It's been a rough few years with viruses and strikes and streaming and price hikes and AI and everything. So hopefully things start to get back to a bit more of a normalization, and we see more of a boom again, because the technology is in a place now where so much is possible. And the mid 2000s, as good as they were, they're being massively improved in many ways by the level of technology and creativity that we have now. So it would be very nice to be able to get back on track, and I look forward to that. In the meantime, stay safe, folks.